swear I got you too. You scared? I'm down with you. Be right there. I've been here through the nights, the days, making these moves. You know it pays. All of us you from the way you know me so good. And girl, I'll stay. You know I will. And if you do, I'll stay right here next. No.
Come on in. We got a lot to talk about. Come on in.
You look sexy and you girl love the way that you do. You look so good, I wouldn't get tired of you. I love it when you right on top, you wanna say my name. You do it best, baby, you know that you been my fat. She throwing that ass, I'm catching that shit. She throwing that back, I'm making that hit. She know that I'm working all week. She working till 3. Got booty, she throwing my face. Put so good, I never disgrace. Put so good, I fly out, stay, take a damn flight. You rub that A, pussy popping that A. I be back in that bed, Uber right back from the hopping them hills.
Facebook gangsters. I don't own the copyrights.
Give me a hug. I ain't got a bed, so he fucking on the rug. I ain't got a rug, so he fucking on the wood. She ain't got a man, cause nigga couldn't do it. Told her it was big, I don't think she understood. I'ma lay right like a real man should. Nobody looks sexy than you, girl, love the way that you do. You look so good, I wouldn't get tired of you. I love it when you right on top, you wanna say my name. You do it best, baby, you know that you been my fate. Nobody looks sexy than you, girl, love the way that you do. You look so good, I wouldn't get tired of you. I love it when you.
This is Shade Crew, that's my baby.
You wanna say my name. You do it best, baby, you know that you been my fate. I'm back from home, feels different when I'm alone. Say you miss Boston though, hopefully it won't be too long. I see you written on my phone, photos of my text message. I don't want no smoke, girl, you know that I like it pleasant. Yeah, I love all your soul, yeah, I love your presence. Open up that bus, pussy.
Man, let's cut it, man. Let's cut it. Facebook Live, what is going on? What is going on today? Woo! Excuse me, y'all. Y'all gotta excuse me. This is black seed oil. I took some black seed oil with some coffee today, so I'm a little bit turned today. Don't mind me. Do not mind me. We got a lot to talk about today. Fix my mic. Hopefully y'all can hear me out there real clear. Come on in, everybody. I want everybody to take a look at the title, the description, and we're going to talk about it. Entanglement. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about entanglement. Let me get this thing ready. Yeah, right there. Right there. So the first question for tonight, can you be separated but still be married? Now, obviously, tonight's live is gonna be credited to. I see you, big sis. Don't worry. I'm gonna try to be easy. Like I said, I got a lot of black seed oil in my system with some coffee, so I'm gonna try not to touch some nerves. But tonight's Facebook Live is dedicated to recent events with the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, August Alsina controversy. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's some things that we need to get clear. There's some things that we need to discuss. We need to have an understanding about. Definitely. I didn't even bother Eli the Dawn today. I figure I just let me quarterback this one today. I'm gonna quarterback this one today. So in recent events, Jada Pinkett and Will Smith did a red table talk. That's what happened today. Not today, but the video. I don't know how recent it was. And you know what? I didn't even want to talk about this today. I had some other things I needed to talk about. If not tonight, sometime in the morning. You know, it's a lot of good things happening this weekend. There's a URL battle that I'm watching with a couple of my frat brothers. There's also a big fight, George Masvidal versus Usman, who's the current champion. There's a lot of things that I wanted to kind of get into, just to get some feedback from everybody. But I had some interesting exchanges today on Facebook on whether it be my post or other people's posts. And I figured today would be a good day to kind of get some understanding, get some clarification about, you know, happiness, separation. So let's just wait for a little bit more people to come in here. First off, I want to thank everybody for joining the cleanup cast. I want to thank everybody for continually sending me donations, whether it be via CashApp, whether it be PayPal. It's just different outlets. I thank everybody for that. I said it gives me the motivation to keep doing what I'm doing. Y'all obviously like hearing me talk. Maybe not, but it is what it is. I just want to let y'all know I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. This is the Cleanup Cast, where, you know, this is a platform about objectively speaking. I also want to let y'all know that here, when you come into the house of Groove, I am groovy. When you come into the house of Groove, we are talking about everything. We're not just one-sided when we talk about certain events. We're talking about different things, whether it be from politics, events going on in politics, events going on in finances, hip-hop, sports, any other type of genres, just different things. I try to be versatile. I try to learn and engage myself with certain things. I wouldn't say I'm a top-notch journalist. I don't think I am a journalist. I'm just a regular Joe Schmo with an opinion. More so just speaking from an objective standpoint, where I listen to both sides of a certain situation, and then I'll formulate my opinion based off of that. I try not to give my opinion unless we're personally speaking, but I like hearing from people. I like hearing people's ideas. I like learning from other people. You know, I just like learning. I just like talking to people. I like engaging. That's me. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know I mentioned a couple shows ago that we're going to be transitioning to YouTube Live, but tonight's topic, I felt like directly, you know, engaging with the Facebook crowd. I like a lot of people that I'm friends with. As far as a lot of the posts that I see when I'm scrolling through, when I have the free time, you know, and I feel like I get a lot of good engagement here, even though I get engagement through the YouTube Live, but I like coming here because of the people that I follow. I constantly follow new people based off of their perspectives. I unfollow people based off of certain things that I'm past. You know, I started Facebook. I created this Facebook back in 2007, 6. I was 17. Posting nonsense, as we all do. You know how sometimes you'll post something years back and Facebook will remind you of some of the ignorant mess that you would post. I'm like, damn, I really posted that? Just saying dumb stuff. Saying really dumb stuff. But I tell you what, it is a good I would say it is a good measuring point to see where my growth is now from where it was before. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate the growth, me learning every day, me growing every day, constantly engaging with people. So shout out to Facebook. Shout out to Facebook, even though they kind of be shooting me crazy messages. I might start screenshotting Facebook and letting them know what's happening. Let my friends know what's happening. Why Facebook keep coming after me? But I be good. I be good sometimes, here and there. But I be making it through. So let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. So in the Red Table Talk, Jada Pinkett, how would you say, she clarifies or kind of like explains her side of the story. Jada Pinkett clarifies her side of the story. Now, we know weeks ago, August Alsina had an interview with Angela Yee from The Breakfast Club, and he was just talking about different things, and one topic that specifically came up is his relationship, his friendship, which then turned into something more serious with Jada Pinkett. August Alsina did mention how he went to Will Smith and got his approval. Listen, you can fact check everything I'm saying. August Alsina, and I quote, stated, "Listen, I definitely went to Will Smith and I let Will Smith know what was going on as far as like whatever him and Jada Pinkett Smith was building." As stated, that right there is already crazy enough for me. According to this Red Table Talk, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett knew that August Alsina was a young kid looking for help. But before we get into that, we got to get into the relationship between Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. Now, according to the two, they were having a rocky relationship. There were times where they were arguing, yelling at each other, you know. It even got to a point where they were on the edges saying, like, let's just end it all. Let's just end it all. You know, something that I picked up on watching this interview, from my understanding, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith decided to come to a mutual agreement. Now, within this mutual agreement, it wasn't to end the marriage. It wasn't to end the relationship that they had going on for years and years, you know? From my understanding and from what I got from the interview, it looks like there was no happiness, you know, kind of normal things. Listen, when you get married with somebody, let's talk about marriage real quick. So from my understanding, when you marry somebody, there's certain things as a man or as a woman that you have to come to realization within your head. Everybody should know that when you marry somebody, everything is not going to be peachy, all peaches and cream. Everything is not going to be good 100% of the time. That's not what marriage is about. You know, things that I've came across in my life, dealing with, like, talking with people that were married or just like in a long-term relationship. Marriage is about understanding that your spouse has some type of characteristic or some type of something that you obviously know that this person may not be able to rid of. You know, now in the process of you coming to the realization in your head that, yo, I'm going to marry this person, you are not only marrying the good with this person, but you may potentially marry somebody with a trait that they may not be able to kick. Whether it be anger issues, whether it be eating issues, just different things. You as a man or a woman are saying to yourself, I am willing to tolerate this because I love this person this much. Send me some hearts, send me some thumbs up, whatever. Send me whatever. Just to let me know that y'all out there and y'all hear what I'm saying. Let me know if I'm mistaken on my perception of marriage. At the end of the day, when you marry somebody, you are taking that step to say, listen, I understand that this person has this trait that they may not, or this habit that they might not be able to kick. I understand that 100%. And because I love this person so much that I am willing to tolerate certain things within this marriage, knowing that there's a possibility that this habit or this characteristic may not never leave while we're here, while we're here together. You know, and I tell you what, I'm big in marriage. I am big in marriage. I am big in the vows that is said to each other. I am big in certain things like for better or for worse. Through thick and thin. Life or death. Those things, like at the end of the day, that's like a long lasting promise relationship that, yo, ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. I'm gonna love you for whatever you got going on, and I'm not saying you're gonna sit here and you're gonna just like not try to help, but you already come to the realization in your head that, all right, this is something that the person might not rid of. But that don't mean that I'm just gonna sit here and just like not try to help this person rid of it. This is gonna be a constant life struggle. That's what we're doing. That is what you're doing when you ask to marry somebody. Of course, the good is gonna be good. At the end of the day, everything is good. There are so many stages when you're building with somebody. So many stages. There specifically the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase, of course, you're not gonna see the person for who they are because your spouse or your other half is wearing a suit and tie, as I would call it. The honeymoon relationship is like a job interview. That's what it is. The honeymoon phase is a job interview. At the end of the day, you're going to come to this job interview. You're going to come with your best foot forward. You're going to have your resume in hand. You're going to sit up properly. You're going to do everything you're going to do whatever it is you need to do to let this person know, listen, I'm the best person for you, or I am the best thing since sliced bread, quote unquote. That's the honeymoon phase. I'm gonna have my lucky tie on. I'm gonna have my favorite underwear on. I'm gonna have my favorite whatever. I'm gonna have all that stuff on just to impress you. And the honeymoon phase can last for a couple months, maybe a couple years. You never know. But there's going to be a time within this relationship where slowly the person's tie is going to start coming off. Slowly, the person's dress shoes is going to start coming off. Then the belt, then a shirt. Then weeks, months, years later, you are going to fully see who this person really is. Now, this is where the true test begins. This is where the true test begins. Because once this person has physically come out of their suit and tie and you see the person for what they is, now you got to decide if you're going to tolerate certain things that might not, at the end of the day, I understand about smoke screens and all that stuff. No, but now it's time to get down to the nitty and the gritty. All right, I understand who this person is for who they are. Do I want to endure this? Does my love overshadow what I'm willing to endure? And that's simple. Listen, the most dangerous drug in the world is love. Love is dangerous, y'all. Love is dangerous. Love is dangerous, specifically when you start out, when you're going through it, and when it's over. If it does end. At the end of the day, love is the most dangerous drug known to man and woman. Love can have you do so many things. So many things that's inside your character, outside of your character, make you act certain ways. We gotta accept it. This is what love is. Love is constantly learning your better half. Love is constantly growing. Love is sometimes about being selfless. Love is about sacrifice. Love can make you happy. Love can make you cry. Love can make you do, like I said, so many things that love puts you through. Now, in a sense of Jada and Will Smith, it seems based off of the Red Table talk, it seems that they were still in love, even though they were not necessarily on the same term. They wasn't seeing eye to eye. There was a miscommunication. There was a lot of misunderstanding. There was a lot of disagreements going on. But they both, according to this Red Table talk, it was certain things that they were willing to look past based off of the betterment of each other, the betterment of the kids. Let's not forget that there are kids involved in this situation. There's a family involved in this situation. I can understand if it was two individuals that was married and they had responsibilities of other lives now. It was certain conversations I was having on Facebook today, and it seemed like I noticed one thing within these conversations. Everybody was overlooking the fact that kids were involved. Everybody was, whether you were for what Jada Pinkett was doing or whether you were against, nobody mentioned that these folks had kids involved. And that was something that was shocking to me. I can understand, well, he wasn't happy, she wasn't happy. I understand all of that 100%. And I'm like I said, whatever you need to do to go find yourself and be happy, whatever. But never, ever forget, if you got kids involved, how were the kids affected? We talk about these kids are grown now. These kids are grown men and grown women. Let's not forget that these kids are watching everything you do, whether the parents are together or separated. These kids are watching everything y'all are doing, and they're learning. They're picking up on certain things. Nobody talking about the kids. Everybody talking about their own selves. Everybody being selfish. What about the kids, though? What we talking about? I want to take this time. I don't know if y'all can share this to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. I don't know, but I'll tell you this much. How is the young men in the house looking at their parents? What are you telling the young men that you're raising? What are we telling this young man? These young men. What are we telling? It's okay to be married, but it's okay for your significant other to go out and become entangled with somebody else. Are we teaching this young man to accept that? Are we teaching this young lady that if you're not happy, it's okay to find happiness with somebody else while still being married? Are we really teaching these kids this? Let's really put these things into perspective. What are these kids learning? What are these kids are embracing? Whether it be willfully or unwillfully, at the end of the day, these kids are always learning. Like, these kids are smart. Our kids are very smart. Starting at a young age. I'm talking about from 5 on up. And I can speak from like perspective, because my son shocks me even to this day about certain things that he know as a young child. And that lets me know, like, yo, these kids are very smart. They're very advanced. We kind of like don't give them the credit that they deserve. We bypass the intelligence of these children. Nah. And that's the problem. In this situation, everybody is worried about themselves, but nobody worried about the kids. Nobody's asking these kids about their mental well-being. Oh, because they children, they don't have the right to experience emotions. That's what we saying. Because they're children, they don't have the right. They don't have the right to be upset. They don't have the right to be curious about certain things. How are we agreeing on a separation but we still married? And then all of a sudden these kids see another man in the house, because August Alsina did live in that house. August Alsina did live in that house. So what are we saying? Think about the trauma that we are causing these kids when we see mommy and daddy separated, but they still married, but mommy is dating this individual. How is that possible when mommy and daddy is still married? They separated, but like, just me as a grown man, I'm thinking like, what is going on? Imagine how these kids is feeling. Miguel, shoot your question, man. I'm here, man. I'm here. Like I said, man, don't mind me. I'm rambling off, man. I got the black seed oil in my system with the coffee, so I'm feeling like Mega Man. Don't worry about me. I'll be okay, Facebook. That's the first thing that came to my mind. What about the kids? This is the problem. This is why the kids are so messed up, because look what we as people are putting these kids through. We need to stop saying, yo, these kids is too young to understand what's going on. No, they are not. They're not too young. So Miguel mentions, how do you raise someone and not be happy and then teach them how to be happy? How do you raise someone? That's a very good question. That's a very good question. But then, you know what, Miguel, to kind of respond to you, I look at it like this, which goes back to the first question. At the end of the day, we need to figure out, if we're going to be separated, we need to really go our separate ways. We can't be separated in the same house. Because that question in itself is going to cause mass confusion if mommy and daddy's in the house. That question right then and there is going to cause mass confusion, because mommy and daddy is still in the house, but they separated, but they still married. Will and Jada need to understand, yo, if we going to separate, we got to separate. Like, somebody got to move out. I would rather raise a kid in 2 happy homes than one in turmoil. But y'all, as Will and Jada, y'all too selfish. Y'all worried about y'all image. Y'all worried about what the media is gonna say. So y'all would rather hold this facade or keep this facade up to the world that you guys are working things out, when you're really not working things out. This is the selfishness that I'm talking about. If y'all gonna be separated, then separate. There needs to be clarification. Yo, what is separation? What does separation means? What are we talking about? What are we saying right now? We're not talking in codes. We're not talking in codes, because it's kids at risk here. When you say separate, when you want to leave, or when you want to separate from yourself because you're not happy, Listen, we don't have time for gray areas because we got kids. We need to figure out. We need to make up a plan, and we need to act on this plan. And a part of this plan is somebody gotta leave this house. Listen, y'all successful. Y'all can figure it out. I'm sure somebody can I'm sure out of one of the two of y'all can buy another home and start building another home. Split time. Do whatever y'all gotta do. But don't be in there and cause them kids mass confusion, because that's how kids snap. That's how kids snap. Because y'all being selfish. Because y'all being selfish. Y'all worried about yourselves. Y'all worried about y'all public image. Y'all willing to sacrifice that at the well-being, the mental, emotional, and physical well-being of the children. Let that sink in. Don't let that fly over your heads. Let that sink in. What are we talking about? We either together, where we gonna come up with certain strategies to kind of fix on what's broken at this point in time, or we gonna separate. Ain't no in between. That's the problem. Everybody's too much in between. Why are we in between? Nah, ain't no more in between. Ain't no more in between. Ain't no more. Either fix it or cut it off. Simple as that. There's kids involved. At the end of the day, y'all too grown. Y'all grown folks. But at the end of the day, these kids don't have nothing to do with what y'all got going on. Regardless of if y'all not happy. If y'all not happy, figure it out. If y'all not happy, figure it out. And do what's in the best interest of the children. And I tell you what, staying in a house that's burning down with children is not in the best interest of the children. That's not in the best interest of the children. You're causing trauma instead of eliminating it. So if the kids come out and they start snapping, however they snap, and whether it be drastic or whether it be minor, y'all are to blame for that, because y'all was too selfish enough to make a responsible decision that would respectively affect these kids in the right manner. But y'all selfish, so y'all don't care about the kids. And I'm gonna call it like that. Y'all don't care about the kids. It don't matter what this person did. It don't matter what that person did. At the end of the day, y'all two grown ass people, and y'all should be able to come to a understanding of this is what we're gonna do for the betterment of the family, whether that family is together or separate. Stop dancing on this line. Because if you don't teach the kids right, they gonna learn from somebody else. And that's a whole nother problem. Y'all too busy focused on yourselves. Y'all are missing out on what these kids are lacking. And if these kids don't get it at home, take a guess where they gonna get it at. You got it, the streets. And when I say the streets, I don't just mean like the streets. I mean like it's so many factors that is calculating in with raising these kids. We talking about out in the neighborhoods. We talk about friends. We talking about social media. We just talking about so many other things that these kids have to deal with when they go out into the world. But because these kids aren't of age, you're forcing them to go out in the world earlier than when they are ready. You forcing these kids in the streets way earlier than they're ready. Because y'all can't get y'all lives together. Because one or the other isn't happy. You shouldn't have had kids. You shouldn't have had kids. You should have asked questions. Get to know who you're dealing with. Ask questions. Don't be fooled by the suit and tie. Do not be fooled by the suit and tie. If you're not fooled by the suit and tie, then all right, y'all gonna get married. We gonna accept whatever comes with the game, good or bad, and we gonna work with each other. Marriage ain't no contract. Marriage ain't no 10-year contract. Marriage ain't no 20-year contract. We talking about a lifelong contract that you guys are promising to each other. You guys are submitting to each other. One is not submitting to the other. You guys are submitting to each other. You guys are submitting to each other. All right. So the fact that you guys submitted to each other, y'all have kids. Now it's time to think. All right. Now it's time. Now it's not about y'all. Y'all got married, so that means y'all was willing to go through whatever y'all went through for each other. Absorb some of the characteristics that we talked about earlier that, you know, sometimes your partner might not be able to get rid of, but you willing to work with this partner even though it might not go. All right, we figured that out. We got kids now. So now we got to put our selfish agendas to the side and raise our kings and queens, our princes and princesses. Listen, I had a conversation with my pops the other day. I had a conversation with my pops the other day. My pops told me something that stuck with me that will never ever leave me. My pop said, as a father or as a mother, our job is to keep these kids dreaming. For as long as you can. Keep these kids dreaming for as long as you can. If these kids realize, if they wake up and realize the dreams that we're trying to, you know, keep these kids to having, if they wake up and they stop dreaming, you failed as a mother or a father. You failed as a mother or father once these kids stop dreaming. And let's not get it twisted. I'm talking about dreaming like you can do whatever you want. Santa Claus is here. The Easter Bunny, all this stuff. You got to protect these kids' dreams. And once these kids stop dreaming, we fail as parents. So even if you got to keep these kids dreaming, thinking that Santa Claus is real up until 18, until adulthood, you did your job. But if these kids stop believing in Santa Claus, if these kids stop believing in the Tooth Fairy, and we talking about age 8 to 12, yo, we failed. We lost already. Because you forcing these kids to grow up too soon. And that's a problem. Keep your kids dreaming for as long as you can before they get into the real world. Slowly start walking them into the real world, but let them dream for as long as possible until it's time to start spreading their wings. But if these kids wake up and they're not excited for something, we fail as parents. And you know what? Will Smith and Jada Smith, you guys may have failed your kids to keep dreaming. Even though you guys are successful, but money isn't everything. Happiness is. Obviously, you guys know because y'all came to an agreement to separate, but y'all did it the wrong way. Keep these kids dreaming because you're causing trauma if they don't. Now something very interesting came out of this Red Table Talk where Will Smith and Jada Pinkett both agreed that they knew August Alsina when he came to the table. He was looking for help. They both agreed that August Alsina was a young man in dire need of help. Internally, spiritually, emotionally, they both knew that. So by Jada Pinkett mentioning that she became entangled, there's signs of premeditation. You became entangled with a young man who was broken, who was like going through so many things in his lives, which he talks about even before he met y'all. Even when Jada Pinkett is on her journey to seeking happiness, when her and her husband are not on the same page. How does that work? How does that work? Will Smith and Jada Pinkett separated. They were separated when August Alsina came. Let's put the facts into perspective. They were separated, and Jada Pinkett was on her journey to finding happiness. Now, on her journey, Jada Pinkett and Will Smith came across this young man, whether he be 18 in his lower 20s. They both understood that this young man needed help. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally. You know, there were certain things that August Alsina was doing as an R&B artist that he was just snapping on TV. He was snapping. He was just screaming for help. He was so angry that he didn't have no censor button. This is what he came to Will and Jada with, looking for help, and they took him in. Both of them took him in. They took him in as family. They took him in as family, y'all. August Alsina mentions this when he's talking about in this interview with Angela Yee, that family, he's grateful for that family, for the progress he made from back then to at that current state of his life. August Alsina admits that he gives them big credit for his growth. Jada and Will admit that August Alsina needed help. He was crying for help, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And they both agreed to embrace him into the family. How in the hell did Jada Pinkett become entangled with a young man who was crying for help? Let's talk about it. How did that happen? How did that happen? I want to know. So that means August Alsina was confiding in the family. August Alsina let his guard down about certain things that he had went through in his past. While in the process of the family fixing August Alsina, Jada Pinkett became entangled. This is her words, became entangled. She was stuck in a state of entanglement. Wow. Entanglement. This is what we doing. Jada Pinkett, you not low. You not low at all. I'm not. Listen, as much as you want to sugarcoat how you went off and got into a relationship with a damaged child, your cold words, your big words, they not fooling me. You not low. At the end of the day, you got what you wanted. You took advantage of that young man. You did. Because I tell you what, if the shoe was on the other foot, if Will Smith did exactly what Jada Pinkett did to a young lady, how would the world look at Will Smith? Let's talk about it. You see how funny society is? Society is dismissing the fact that Jada Pinkett took advantage of a damaged child. I don't care if this man is old enough to. I don't care. I don't care if he's 18 to 20. I don't care. At the end of the day, they say men don't reach their peak of maturity until like they mid to late 20s. He came to them in his early 20s. Let's talk about it. Not only did this child come to the family for help. Yo, Jada Pinkett, you had your way with this child. Now, I'm not gonna go out there and say that you raped this young child, even though you can make a case for it. I'm not gonna say forcibly raped. I'm not gonna say that. Statutorily, we can say that, but technically, August Alsina is not a minor. But does that mean anything? Do you have to be a minor to be statutorily raped? Let's talk about it. What is the statute of limitation on rape? See, society has a habit of dismissing a man saying he was raped over a woman saying she was raped. Let's talk about it. This is society, people. This is today's state of mind when it comes to dealing with certain cases of rape. Because I bet you I bet you my last penny that if Will Smith did what Jada Pinkett did, we would be dragging Will Smith right now. We would be dragging Will Smith right now. This is like an easy open shut case. Let's put things into perspective. If a young lady came to the family, and Will and Jada knew that this young lady was broken spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and Will Smith entangled with this young lady, what would society do? Would society be as dismissive as it is with Jada Pinkett? Don't worry, I'll answer it. No. That would be the end of Will Smith as we know it. That will be the end of Will Smith as we know it. Whether the young lady is an adult or not. That will be the end of Will Smith as we know it. And I'm talking about from social media to mass media. That will be the end of Will Smith. Think about it, man. Listen, this podcast, we the Cleanup Cast. This podcast, we here talking objectively. We here talking objectively. And we're gonna do that today. We're gonna speak objectively. We're gonna look at both sides of the situation. The fact that Jada Pinkett was brave enough to sit here and say that she was on her journey to find happiness, which Will Smith was supporting his wife because she was still married, messing with August Alsina. The fact that Jada Pinkett could sit here, screw her face up and say she was on her journey to find happiness, then in another sentence say that she became entangled with August Alsina while healing him. Let's listen to the key words. While I became entangled with this young man as I was healing him. What if Will Smith would have said that? You can see the hurt in Will Smith's face. You can see the look. You can see just by reading Will Smith's body language. In the beginning, Will Smith was like so shocked. Will Smith did not expect somebody in a home to be the happiness that his wife was looking for. Will Smith did not expect a broken young man to be his wife's happiness. You could just tell by his body language. You could tell by his body language. In the beginning, Will Smith was not expecting that. He was not expecting that. Will Smith was not expecting that. Seriously. And you can just tell by the body language. But, over time, it seems like Will had to accept it. He did a good job by not talking about it. I thought Will Smith wasn't going to talk about it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I guess the public scrutiny of Jada Pinkett, mind you, Will Smith is still like fighting for Jada Pinkett. All the public scrutiny that she's getting, that he still decided to stay by her side. It's a cold world. It's a cold world. And I was engaging in a lot of conversation today with people on different pages, and a lot of people were kind of mentioning, well, Will Smith did it too. Will Smith did this. Will Smith had another girlfriend and all that stuff like that. See, my problem with this is right here. I understand, and I'm not here taking up for Will Smith. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Right now is not a situation for us to be playing the blame game. It's not a situation right now. This is not the time of day. This is not the time of day to be sitting here playing the blame game. No. See, the problem nowadays is, like, I'm not going to say all women, but majority of women do not take accountability for their actions. They're quick to say, well, this is the reason why I did this. Y'all don't want to hear that from men. Y'all don't want to hear a man say, listen, this is the reason why. No, you want a man to say, listen, I take full responsibility for my actions. And in that Red Table Talk, I didn't see Jada Pinkett taking responsibility or taking accountability for her actions. She was admitting the entanglement / relationship. She was admitting it, but she always resorted back to her being in a hurt state. Yo, now is not the time to be talking about you being hurt. Nah, that's not the topic at hand right now. Now is not the time to be talking about you being hurt. You being hurt was the result, or was the cause, or the after effect, or before, of you and Will deciding to separate. All right, y'all separated because you was hurt. All right, that's it. You guys separated because both of y'all was hurt evenly, according to the Red Table Talk. You guys decided to separate because both of you guys were hurt. You guys decided to separate, still be together, work on yourselves, and still be at the family, still work on the family. That was a mutual agreement that you guys came up with before August Alsina came into the picture. So we're not going to sit here and say the reason why you had a relationship with a broken young man, because you was hurt based off of a resolve that y'all already came to the conclusion that y'all was hurt. Y'all separated for the betterment of each other, but y'all gonna stay together for the family. So August Alsina was nowhere near in the picture. Facts is facts. You took advantage of that young man sexually. That's why I say it, you know what? Some can make a case that she sexually abused August Alsina based off of his interview with Angela Yee. You sexually abused this man. I'm not saying you sexually assaulted this man. I'm not saying you raped him, but this was a form of sexual abuse. How would you say it? I don't want to come off as being, too aggressive or harsh, but at the end of the day, you got what you wanted from August Alsina. even when this man was going through his trials and tribulations, you got what you wanted based off of what I got off of the Red Table Talk. Based off of what I got off the Red Table Talk, you got exactly what you wanted from August Alsina. And once you got everything and you was fulfilled and your happiness was restored, what happened? Why y'all stop communication? Why is it that you haven't talked to August Alsina over in months, years? Why? Did the separation cause more trauma to August Alsina? See, ain't nobody talking about that. August Alsina was, you could tell August Alsina was hurt in the interview that he had to kind of like stop the relationship with Jada Pinkett. You took advantage of that young man. Simple as that. Let's take accountability for our actions. You're not going to jail. You're not being sacrificed. But there comes a time where we as responsible adults need to take accountability for our actions. Jada Pinkett, take responsibility for your actions. Be accountable for your actions. Don't do the tit for tat. Don't say, well, this is why I did. No, the world don't want to hear this is why. You did what you did to say, listen, I take full responsibility. You wasn't worried about doing tit for tat when the world didn't really know the full scope of the relationship between you and August Alsina. Now you want to place the blame on Will Smith because of something you did. So Will Smith is the reason why you decided to have an intimate relationship with a broken young man. It's Will Smith's fault. And that's the problem with a lot of with majority of the women out here. You expect men to take accountability for our actions, but y'all don't want to take accountability for y'all actions. Let's really talk about it. Yo, listen, if you hurt, I understand y'all came to the decision y'all was gonna separate but still be married and all that stuff like that. You was gonna be, at the end of the day, if you're telling me you need to find happiness and everything like that, either you want to find happiness together and work on these things, or you want to find happiness someplace else and you just want to separate as a whole and not be married. Simple as that. But let's be honest, you took advantage of that young man. You took advantage of him. And I don't want to hear it, yo, he's of age. Just because you're of age doesn't mean you can make a responsible decision. Like I said, young men, we don't really come until our full mature age up until like our mid to late 20s. You met this man when he was in his early 20s. August Alsina wasn't in a space to make a responsible decision to engage in an intimate relationship with a married woman. This ain't a single woman. This ain't a single older lady. This is a married woman. She's separated from her husband. No divorce. The marriage is still there. That's a lot for a young man to really like sit and like feast on and really like soak that in. And some guys when they engage in intimacy with certain women, they just don't know how to control themselves. And sometimes older women know that. Some older women take advantage of younger men because at the end of the day, we could sway this younger man to feel this certain way, and I'm not saying, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying all older women are that way, but there are women out there that can sway a child, a young man. And at the end of the day, 18, young 20s, yo, you still a child. You still a child. Specifically from August Alsina's like point of view, man, this man came from a broke family. August Alsina don't know what family is. He don't know what family is. He admitted that. He considered Will and Jada family. I stated, I'm engaging with conversations with women today on certain topics on around this post, and all I'm saying from each one of these women is, well, Will Smith did this too. Nobody said nothing when Will Smith had this girlfriend. Nobody said nothing when, at the end of the day, Will Smith didn't clarify certain things in the separation. Absolutely. So Victor Emmanuel states, if Will Smith would have done that with a 20-something-year-old woman, the media would be dragging him right now. You know what, Victor? I said that as well. It's society, the way society is set up, you know. In this situation, it seems like society is favoring Jada Pinkett instead of favoring Will Smith. Don't let that go over your heads. You know, I'm engaging in conversations with women today, and they're saying, well, this wouldn't have happened if Will Smith didn't do this. Well, Will Smith didn't clarify that she couldn't go and become intimate with somebody else. Like, if I have to sit here and tell you that we still married, but it's okay for you to find your inner happiness, I'm not expecting you to go find your happiness with a pipe layer. I'm not expecting you to go find your happiness with somebody else if we still married but separated. How about you clarify that how about you clarify that Will Smith is not sexually satisfying you? Everybody in the world know how important sex is. We do. Everybody knows how important intimacy is in a relationship. We all know this. But if I'm a married man, I'm married to you over 5 to 10 years, I would think that you kind of mastered your flesh to say, listen, you can be by yourself. And if it get to a point where you just want to just cut it off and see other people, I'm pretty sure you're mature enough to say, listen, this is not working. Let's end this marriage right in here so I can just go on about my way, you go on about your way. But it seems, based off of this red table talk, Jada Pinkett did not clarify that. And she's blaming Will Smith or the other people, other people in the world, other women in the world are blaming Will Smith for not clarifying or stating, well, if you're going to let me go be happy, then I'm going to be happy in my own way. I don't think Will Smith meant be happy in that sense. Go find your happiness in that sense. There's a difference between being understanding and being bit by a snake. How many times you gotta be bit by a snake to realize you got bit by a snake? How many times? I'm pretty sure Will Smith did not mean for you to go get into a relationship, go get intimate, get into an intimate relationship to go find your happiness. I'm pretty sure Will Smith didn't mean that. Okay, let's look at it like this. All right, you went to go get intimate with somebody, but you went to go get intimate with somebody that we took in that was broken. You got intimate with somebody that we all as a family, along with the kids, decided that we was going to help this young man. We was going to fix this young man. And you have the nerve to sit here and say there was a state of entanglement while helping somebody heal? What we talking about? What we talking about? Imagine if Will Smith said that. Imagine if Will Smith said that. In the midst of us finding and I don't mean to be repetitive, but I need to clean up Cash to understand what I'm saying right now. I need y'all to understand what I'm saying right now. Imagine if Will Smith and his family decided to take a young lady in early 20s that was broken, that came to us for help, that I accepted in, my wife's accepted in, my kids accepted in, and Will Smith Will Smith gets into a state of entanglement. That would be it for Will Smith. And I can understand and you know what? I might be able to understand Jada Pinkett. I might be able to understand Jada Pinkett if it was like a mistake, a one-time thing. But the fact that the relationship was constant, the intimacy was constant, Jada Pinkett was very she was aware of what she was doing. So every time you was intimate with August Alsina, it was because you was hurt based off of what Will Smith did to you. Every time you was intimate with August Alsina, it was Will Smith's fault. You was hurt based off of Will Smith. Like I said, one time, all right, let's, don't kill her, but we talking about more than 3 times, more than you could count on your hand. So every time is Will Smith's fault. Every time is Will Smith's fault. Absolutely not. I need society to keep that same energy with Jada Pinkett as they would with Will Smith. Keep that same energy. Listen, I'm not saying cancel the woman, but at the end of the day, the scrutiny that I'm pretty sure Will Smith would have got, Jada Pinkett need all that love. She need all that energy. Based off of her entanglement. Based off of the entanglement, Jada Pinkett need all that energy. It's no excuse. Will Smith could have been the most terrible person in the world to you. Will Smith could have did so many things to you. It's no excuse. Will Smith was not responsible every time you had an intimate relationship with this young man that was broken. Take accountability for your actions. Take accountability. I need you to sit here. I need you to understand your place in this whole situation. I want to give a big shout out to Will Smith for fighting through the pain, because that man was in pain. That man was in pain. The body language alone, the way, the certain questions you was asking Jada alone let us know where you stood on everything. The strength that you showed, I respect you, bro. I respect you. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Now that the cat is out the bag, absolutely. Every smile, every chuckle, that wasn't no. Nah, that was hurt. The smiles did not match the body language. I'll tell you that much. The smiles did not match the body language. That man was hurt. Will Smith realized that he had to accept it. He felt out of place for maybe he felt out of place for saying, yo, I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. Every smile, just look at the man body language. Every smile, I looked at it as, man, this man crying, bruh. This man is hurt. That man is hurt. That man is hurt. Simple as that. Jada Pinkett, we're not going to sit here. We're not going to play the blame game. Take accountability. Take responsibility for your actions. Now, the question is, listen, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I can understand this happening behind the scenes and the world not knowing about it. But now the world knows about it. Now there's mass embarrassment that the two married couple are facing, them kids are facing. Where do we go from here? Do we continue? Do we continue this? After the world knows the dirty laundry now, do we continue this marriage? What am I saying to my kids as a man if I stay there? What are you saying to our kids if you allow me to stay there? Did anybody talk to the kids? Talk to the kids. And I know, listen, I know it's about Will and Jada, but at the end of the day, I tell you what, I won't be surprised if both of these kids develop PTSD from the situation. Newsflash, PTSD is not only a military thing. It's not only a military thing. It's most common, but it's not only in the military field. As stated, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, hearing me speak. Thank everybody for the cash apps I just got. I appreciate everybody for the PayPal I just got. This is the Cleanup Cast. This is a place, this is a platform where we can come and we can objectively speak. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is the Cleanup Cast. It got my ugly face on there, so y'all know what channel to hit the subscribe on. Comment, like, share this live. I would very much appreciate it. I'm gonna be having a session where I start interviewing business owners, having other people come and give their point of views objectively about certain things. The call-in number, I'm gonna get back onto the call-in number. There's certain things that I'm working out with the call-in number, so the guests can call in and give their opinion. But once again, thank everybody for joining me tonight. Leave your comments. Let me know, should Jada Pinkett take responsibility for her actions? All right, y'all have a good night.